Okay, we're going to give it a minute and allow people to join us. So please wait a minute or two while our guests join us today, and then we will get started in 1 or 2 minutes. Still got some numbers coming in, so hold on before we launch. We've got the team from VIA and Kevin Parks from Zixi ready to go in just a minute. Still got some people coming in, so we're going to give it a little bit longer. And then we will get started with today's presentation in about 1 minute. All right, it looks like it is leveling off. So let's get started. Thank you for joining us today for ultra low latency delivery with advanced quality of experience and compliance with Zixi and VIA. My name is John Westcott and I run partnerships at Zixi. And today I am joined by Kevin Parks, Zixi's VP of Global Field Engineering, as well as VIA's Chief Technology Officer, Kevin Grubbs, and Senior Sales Director, Kevin Lickman. Today's agenda will be to give a brief Zixi overview, get an introduction to VIA and their offerings, how Zixi has been integrated with a live interactive demonstration, and then we will take questions at the end. So please put them into the QA window in the tab, and we will answer as many as we can. If we aren't able to get to your question, we have the questions logged with your email, and the appropriate person from VIA or Zixi will follow up. So to set the stage for today's presentation, let's talk about a few of the operational challenges that modern broadcasters have delivering and managing IP video reliably at scale. There's too much data and it's hard to tell what is and isn't important. And these massive amounts of data historically haven't been well visualized in a way for humans to easily consume. And operations are often too reactive and expensive to fix once something is already broken, as is the root cause analysis process of truly understanding the causes of instability. So in that context, why is this integration important? Leveraging the reliability, security, and scalability of ultra-low latency Zixi streams, VIA provides accurate alerting and multi-viewers with mosaic output and data being displayed in easy-to-consume dashboards. Content owners, networks, station groups, advertisers, and OTT or FAST providers can all count on Zixi and VIA for higher quality of viewer experience and better execution of live IP video delivery operations, resolving errors in live linear television. We've already successfully deployed at many, including AMC, DirecTV, Estrella, Fox, Tata, particularly because there are benefits to engineering groups with the added real-time compliance and confidence monitoring and alerting, transport stream metrics, including dashboards and multi-viewers. We're going to see a demonstration from Kevin Grubbs here in a little bit. And then as well as creating monetization opportunities with programming and sales organizations that need advanced features such as recording with live editing, clipping, sharing for compliance air checks, ad verification, and repurposing content, including to social media outlets. Via and Zixi work seamlessly together on-prem and in the cloud, allowing these named functional groups to do more, faster, and better, including better bandwidth efficiencies with drastically reduced egress costs from 30 to 60%, together with significant compute savings up to 90%. So we provide our joint customers with the lowest total cost of ownership in the industry. So with that set up, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin Parks, who is going to give us an introduction to Zixi technology.
Great, thanks, John. And I got to start by saying this is the first time I've ever been on a call with 3 Kevins on it, so that alone just has to be it's pretty amazing. Anyway, so Zixi, so Zixi is very well known for our Zixi protocol. Zixi's been around since 2006. But what a lot of people don't realize is that Zixi does a lot more than just a protocol. So what we really do is we develop solutions software solutions for delivering live broadcast quality video over any IP network, over any cloud, over any video protocol, or to any edge device. That's what we actually do. We do a lot more than just the Zixi protocol. And we do that for some of the world's largest broadcasters, OTT providers, content owners, service providers, or sports organizations. And you can see some of our customer logos there on the right. And, and why do they use us? Why do they pick Zixi? They do because we provide really the most scalable, most intelligent, the most flexible IP video platform. And as John just said, with the lowest overall total cost of ownership. And we have some statistics there, the ones John just mentioned before. You want to go to the next slide, please, John? Thanks. All right. So another thing people don't often realize about Zixi is that, that they don't realize the scale of Zixi. Zixi's been around for a long time. So over that time, we've really created a global interoperable ecosystem that we refer to as the Zixi-enabled network. And what that consists of is again, there are over 110,000 deployments of our software globally. So it's over 110,000 deployments of our software. It's used by over 1,400 either direct customers or indirect users that download our software, maybe as part of Media Connect or as one of our free receivers or feeders. And then we have over 400 technology partners, good technology partners like VIA, that have integrated our software one way or another into their solutions. And all that ends up leading to our customers using our software to deliver over 1 million live events every year and over 20,000 live linear channels per day. And then another thing people don't often realize is that when we're doing all this within the Zixi protocol or the other video protocols, there's a ton of data that's collected. So we get over 9 billion telemetry data points every day on live video transmission globally. So because we're such a scalable, flexible solution, we're really used by all segments of the media and entertainment industry. So for example, OTT providers like Paramount Plus or Fubo or Apple TV or YouTube TV, they use us, they use our software solutions, and they don't even use it for transmission. They actually usually use our content or our software solutions more for a normalization plane, basically to receive content in all sorts of different formats from the content providers whose channels they carry. Video infrastructure providers like Amagi or like Whirl or AWS also use us as part of their solutions. Broadcasters like Fox and Sinclair are increasingly using us for different reasons. And then actual content owners like Bloomberg or QVC or Cheddar also use us to to distribute their content to their distributors. The sports leagues are starting to use us more and more. So we've had a great partnership with the NHL for several years. They use us to distribute their content. And then this year, Major League Baseball used us to deliver all their games to their international, well, all the actual distribution of their games. And then service providers like Encompass and Olympusat also use this as part of the solutions they deliver to their customers. And then lastly, telco, cable, and satellite operators also use Zixi. Companies like Comcast and Dish and SES. Okay, so this is the Zixi platform. This is what we actually do. And typically, I used to refer to this as sort of our core capability is almost like a Swiss Army knife that could solve lots of problems. More recently, I've heard it described really as Legos, and that's a great way to put it. So the Zixi, what we actually have is what we call our software-defined video platform. And it's basically this you can like set of Legos that you can use to build all sorts of different video workflows. So, for example, on the left side of the diagram, you can use it to receive content from Zixi software or also from third-party devices. You can receive that content in lots of different protocols. We support essentially any professional video protocol in addition to the Zixi protocol. And then you can build a whole workflow with things like live transcoding or packaging, multiplexing, or all these, all the different things listed here. And then that content can then be distributed again in all sorts of different protocols so that you can match whatever your delivery target needs are. And then on top of that, there are different layers of monitoring and control that we have. And really at the highest level, we have our Zen Master platform, which is our control plane that allows you to control and manage and monitor these end-to-end video workflows. All right. So on total cost of ownership, John mentioned it, I've mentioned it already. So there's a perception in the industry that the use of some video protocols like SRT, there's a perception that that's free. And that's really not correct. Although it's free to download sort of SRT, the core SRT library and core software, you still need to put that software in something, in some kind of platform to run it. So either you need to hire your own software engineers to develop your own platform, or you have to use a third-party platform. So SRT is not free. And on top of that, it's actually pretty expensive to operate SRT when compared to Zixi. And the reason is, well, there's a few reasons for it, but fundamentally, Zixi's been around for quite a while, and it's really been optimized over the years. So for example, part of the Zixi protocol, one of the features it includes is lossless compression. Basically, the protocol is video aware, so it can remove redundancies losslessly in the video content, which leads to 30 to 60% lower costs, lower egress, lower costs of egress. And there's a little example of that shown in the picture on the right. And what that shows is a source stream running at a little over 9 megabits per second. And then that same stream with wrapped with SRT, and SRT actually adds a little bit of overhead. So it jumps from 9 megabits per second up to 9.4 megabits per second. And then the same stream is shown as a Zixi stream. And again, Zixi is doing lossless compression of that stream. So in this example, it drops it all the way down to 2.2 megabits per second. And that's just a moment in time. The amount of compression actually depends on the video content. But in general, on average, it can save you from 30 to 60% on your egress costs. In addition to that, we've done a lot of things to optimize the compute of operating the Zixi protocol. So, for example, we use a technology called DPDK, and what that allows us to do is to bypass the operating system and talk directly to a network card. And that way, you remove any limitations of the operating system. And doing that gets us 40 times more throughput when compared to SRT. And there's a little example again of that over on the right. Basically, with that kind of low cost 48 core machine, you can operate almost 50 gigabits per second of content on that one machine. So it makes it incredibly efficient from a compute point of view. And then in addition to that, we've deployed our Zixi Broadcaster on ARM processors like the AWS Graviton processors, which again allows you to be way more cost efficient, up to 40% less cost, which is good for your pocketbook, good for the planet. All right. So John, last slide there, just a few quotes from some of our leading customers. I won't go through all these, but Fox, for example, uses Zixi to distribute the content, the channels from their 190 local Fox affiliates out to the virtual MVPDs like YouTube TV and Hulu Live and so on. And they've been we've really enjoyed a very collaborative partnership with Fox there. Like I mentioned, Major League Baseball is now using us to distribute all their content, all their games, and they replaced a fiber solution with Zixi. So in the past, when they wanted to add a new distribution partner, it would take months because you'd have to order a new fiber connectivity for that partner. And as the quote shows here, with Zixi, it's so much more flexible and easy to do. We can add new partners the same day that they ask for it. So that's it. Just a quick overview, and now I'll turn it back to you, John.
Thank you, Kevin. That was very informative, and we'll now move on to another Kevin, Kevin from VIA.
Hello, everybody. I guess you can refer to me as Kevin number 2 for the moment. I'm Senior Sales Director at Vela. I'm joined today with Kevin Grubbs. I guess he'll be number 3. He's our Chief Technology Officer. I'd like to just briefly tell you who we are and what we do, and I'll leave it up to Kevin number 3 to show you how we do it. Vela does support Zixi, of course, and other formats for monitoring the quality of live and linear content throughout the distribution chain. From the ingest source to viewer experience and points in between, Vela provides real-time automated monitoring for quickly detecting and resolving errors, and all within a user-friendly single pane of glass visibility. Vela does provide a very comprehensive suite of features and functionalities for compliance, for confidence, quality monitoring, alerting, logging, recording, and multi-viewing. It's very feature rich. The product's mature. We've been developing this product along the lines for almost 30 years, and many features that we've developed were features that customers requested. It's also a very highly cost-effective platform. And it addresses a multitude of use cases and workflows from engineering to operations, compliance, programming, advertising, sales, marketing and social media, and also executive departments and stakeholders all have value in accessing the Vela solution. As I mentioned, Vela is an Emmy award-winning broadcast technology company. We have almost 30 years of experience providing mission-critical solutions in the television industry. Vela is widely deployed, and we're field tested, and we've proven ourselves with over 1,000 system deployments across hundreds of stations and networks and platforms. Vela is a comprehensive, optimized, and cost-effective solution. We have user-friendly interfaces for monitoring, logging, verification, detection, alerting, and recording. Vela software includes a full suite of powerful multi-viewers and dashboards for all workflows, from engineering to production, sales, and management. And Vela works with every aspect of your streams and channels. So we measure audio, video, transport stream parameters, metadata, SCSI and X-asset messages, and we work with all types and formats and protocols and inputs. Vela works everywhere, and it can be anywhere. So we will be able to work from contribution feeds at the source, in distribution, at handoff to vMPVDs and CDNs and other distribution partners, and all the way to the viewer edge. Vela can also work in a single market or a hub. You can work across a region, across multiple regions worldwide. It is accessible through a single pane of glass to any operator anywhere. Vela is extraordinarily flexible, and we can work in any configuration and infrastructure. Vela can be deployed on premises, in cloud, or as a hybrid combination. Again, we do support all formats and inputs, including physical inputs and virtual inputs. And Vela has a deep and broad functionality. You can monitor just a few sources or hundreds, and you can monitor multiple streams and test points within the stream with efficient and effective tools and a single pane of glass solution. More importantly, perhaps, is Vela prides itself in its superlative support and flexibility. We provide hands-on 24/7 support for commissioning. We give unlimited training to our customers, software updates as well. We can be owned by perpetual license or operated as software as a service or both. I look forward to hearing from everyone after the webinar. And for now, I'd like to turn things over to Kevin Grubbs, or Kevin number 3, and show you how we do it.
All right, let's move away from slides into the more exciting visual section of it. Kevin Grubbs, if you want to take it and give us a demonstration.
All right, thank you for that, John. As John mentioned, I'm Kevin Grubbs, Kevin number 3 on the roster, but number 1 in your hearts, I hope. But let's go ahead and get started here. Where we fit into the Zixi ecosystem is Vela's a monitoring solution where we can monitor everything from the protocol level all the way down to the individual audio and video frames here. So we can connect to Zixi sources and bring those into our monitoring system, provides you with all the valuable statistics that Zixi provides on all of their protocol. As you can see here, we have network stats, FEC stats, connection stats. So we can monitor and log everything associated with that Zixi stream at the protocol level, and then drill down and set thresholds and set points on all the other parameters that we monitor within the video and audio streams. So TR 101-290, so we can monitor, again, within the transport streams, all of your TR 101-290 parameters, and allow you to set thresholds and set points on any or all of those parameters for every stream that you bring in. And then drilling down even further, for each individual video stream, audio video stream in there, beyond the protocol, beyond the transport level, you have the video and audio parameters that we can monitor for you. Audio levels, audio loudness, bit rates associated, that's the audio and video and transport bit rates associated with that particular stream. Closed captions, or for our international partners, DVB subtitles. Not only do we monitor those, but we log all of those as text. So all of your DVB subs, we'll OCR those and log those as text, so that we make all of that searchable metadata. So if you want to go look for a piece of content based on a keyword, either a caption or a subtitle, then we can find that for you. Same thing with teletext. We also do other types of parameters, of course, like all of your SCSI, ad insertion, HLS event type of parameters. Those are really important to our partners, being able to see, when ads get inserted, how they get inserted. That's how most of us get paid. So it's an incredibly important part of the monitoring process, and a part that we invest a lot of effort and resources in doing for you. Of course, we also monitor things like audio watermarks from Nielsen, ID3 tags, those types of parameters, and your video parameters and your other audio parameters, right? So they all kind of work the same here. You'll decide which parameters for every channel you want to monitor or set thresholds on. You'll enable that, set that threshold, and then we have a whole notification suite within our systems too. So you can integrate this with Active Directory, single sign-on services like Okta. You can use Active Directory user groups to determine who has access to what, but also who you notify, right? So if this particular alarm were to occur, we can notify an individual or a group of individuals. In this case, we'll notify Joe Guy, right? And we can notify him on any number of platforms. We can send them an email. We can send them a text message. We can notify them through Slack or Teams or WebEx Teams. We also support WhatsApp, SNMP traps. If you have a hardware-based system, then GPO triggers we can support also. So all of those notification methods are available. And with any alert or alarm, after you configure the initial notification contact point, you can add rules to escalate these alerts or alarms if they're not acknowledged within a user-defined period of time. So if Joe Guy's at the beach or his phone isn't working, what have you, we can set up a rule here that says, hey, after 5 minutes, this is black, it's pretty serious. Let's go ahead and notify the next group up. And then maybe after 10 minutes, we can notify the next group up after that, right? So we can continue escalating this alert or alarm so that we make sure that somebody sees it and somebody's addressing it and somebody's getting us back on air as quickly as possible or resolving the issue as quickly as possible. Okay, so those are the automated alerts and alarms, again, from the protocol level all the way down to individual parameters within the audio and video streams, including, as we said here, add insertion markers, SCUDdy35, SCUDdy104, HLS events. You can set up alerts and alarms based on those triggers also. All right. So how we pull all of this together visually for you guys after you set this up is we kind of have 3 workflows. So we'll have a data workflow, which we use dashboards to display. And then we'll have a multi-viewer workflow. So you can construct your multi-viewer views, set up multi-viewer pods, those types of things, should you choose to do that. And then finally, we can record this content for you 24/7 and keep it however long you wish to keep it. So there is an editing workflow where you can edit out and extract content, republish content to social media if you choose. All of those types of options are available to you. So starting off with the dashboards. The dashboards are a critical part of the monitoring ecosystem in that it allows you to monitor your entire ecosystem. In this case, this dashboard that we have here, we're doing, alarms level monitoring, if you will. Green is good, red is bad, yellow means you have an alarm history in this case. So we're looking at 112 channels, being served from 28 original channels that are distributed across these various OTT platforms. We're monitoring the handoff points that we're looking at these various OTT platforms. And if we were trying to throw 112 channels into a multi-viewer, you can definitely do it. And even in a penalty box, you can definitely see this, and we do have penalty boxes available, but you can construct a view that makes it really easy for the engineers or the operators who are monitoring this to quickly determine what's going on, right? So if we look at this, we have a red dot here on each one of our platforms, and this red dot tells us, that we have an alarm coming from true crime, and it's on every one of our distribution platforms. So as the engineer, immediately I know I have to go look at the source of this true crime. I'm not going to go troubleshoot, the connection between true crime and Samsung because it's happening everywhere. I need to go to the source and resolve this issue at the source, right? Whereas on our detective stories channel here, we can see here that we have this alarm that's coming and going, this closed captioning alarm, but it only occurs on Apple TV. It's not occurring on any of the other platforms. So that tells me that, I need to troubleshoot or debug what's happening between detective stories and Apple TV and that path, and not look at Fire TV or Roku, right? So the whole point is to make this number one, to make it so that you can see all of your channels, because this 100 channels can easily scale to 1,000 channels. Very easy to put that into this view here, but also be able to assist your operators and your engineers in determining what's going on so that they can resolve these issues as quickly as possible. All of our dashboards are interactive. So no matter what you see on here, you can research those errors and alarms. You can click on red segments here, and it'll take you to that alarm live. You can also look at historical events. So we had this this static alarm on HSN. So we can go over here, click on that, and this is something that happened, what is that, 4 or 5 hours ago, right? So we have an alarm that happened 4 or 5 hours ago. We need to see what the cause of that alarm was. So we click on that and we queue that up into the player here so that we can see what it was that caused that. So we drop you about 30 seconds before, but we also load the thumbnails here so you can see what was going on, and you can easily see that, we threw up this image of this makeup that we were trying to sell here. And we just left this image up longer than what our static threshold set point was, right? So this is not actually an issue, so we can acknowledge and clear this alarm and kind of move on with our lives, and maybe go, tweak our static image settings so that we don't receive this type of alarm in the future. But again, it's easy for you to, because we have a recording of it, and because we have an interactive dashboard here, to just with one click queue that up and be able to see what it is that you want to see. Okay. Other types of data that we can show here within the dashboards beyond just errors and alarms are, again, digital triggers, ad insertion triggers. Those types of that type of data is incredibly important, to all of our partners and our customers, because again, as I said, it's kind of how we all get paid at the end of the day, right? So the type of data that we can show here and the ways we can show it here, we're looking at HLS or OTT triggers. So we're looking at our ins and our outs on these various platforms that we're looking at here. So you can select whatever channels that you want and plot those over time. So we can see all of our ins and our outs. We can also look at what our digital triggers look like over time, so we can get a sense of, do we have any gaps? Are we missing anything in there, right? So we can easily see that by just plotting those onto this graph. And then in addition to showing the triggers, we can show the ad block durations here, right? So we can see here for our channel called Cowboy Way here, we got a pretty stable, ad block duration throughout the day, somewhere right around 120 seconds the whole time, right? So right around that area. Whereas with our other channel here, we're kind of all over the place, right? So we got durations here ranging from 183 seconds all the way down to 15 seconds, right? And maybe that's an issue, but maybe it's not. Maybe there was just an opportunity to insert an ad or a promo here, and they took the opportunity to do that. Or it could be indicative of a larger issue that's going on with, your ad insertion and your triggers. Being able to visualize this data really helps in terms of both just monitoring, but also troubleshooting and resolving issues as they occur. Okay. In addition to visualizing triggers on the dashboard, you can throw up any piece of video here and look at those digital triggers versus the video, right? So you can plot any trigger here versus time. You can drill down into those messages and see what the contents of those SCUDdy, in this case, we're looking at SCUDdy 35 messages, whether SCUDdy 35 or SCUDdy 104, you can actually drill down into those messages and see what they look like. You can even compare messages at various test points. So you can see what a SCUDdy 35 message looks like at one test point versus some other test point down the distribution chain. You can also plot these SCUDdy 35 events, or SCUDdy events, various ways here. We can see them, easily pull them up into a list view, make sure that we have all the ones we need there. And if you have any special messaging beyond unique messages within those, in those ad insertion messages, we can log and display those messages for you also. So again, you can confirm that any unique data that you may be carrying within those messages is there and it's correct. Okay. Other types of data, any type of metadata or audio video parameters that we are logging 24/7, you can plot here too. So I just put together a plot here of loudness, and you could do this with any other audio parameter if you want, but this is an interesting one because this is loudness measurements over so far over the course of today, right? So we have our ABC channel, and then we have our Shop LC channel. So we can see our ABC channel is right here in terms of loudness, right around the minus 26 range. Whereas we can see our Shop LC, it's much lower, somewhere down here in the minus 31 range, right? And you don't need to be, super engineer to look at this plot and see that these two things are different, and that probably in broadcast, if two things are different, that means one of them's wrong. So one of these is wrong. So you can easily see this, and again, you can take action based on what you see here just by being able to visualize this data. It makes it easier and more obvious than looking at data through a data table. And just as you did with Scuddy, we can plot this type of data versus the video also, right? So any data that we collect, you can pull up the video and plot that data versus the video. So we have in this case, we have our loudness data over a time period. And again, this is all interactive. So anytime you click anywhere, on any of these graphs or any of that type of data, we jump into that point in the video so that you can see exactly what's going on. Okay, so that's our dashboards. Next thing to show you here, the next workflow to kind of work through would be the multi-viewer view. So the multi-viewers, we have several different types of multi-viewers. We have browser-based multi-viewers, which we're showing here. I'll kind of run through this. And then we have application-based multi-viewers that will run on a workstation or on a server, where you can build up multi-viewer pods and things like that. And then we also have multi-viewer applications that will run on devices, smart devices like Apple TVs or Fire TVs. All right. So here's a live multi-viewer look through at several channels that we're looking at here. And this is the type of data that you can view real time, right? So we have this particular channel we're pulling off, this is program guide information that we're pulling out and displaying up here live. We have, our LEDs that indicate if we have any current active alarms like we have on Cowboy Way, or an alarm history like we have here. We also have our loudness measurements, for both primary and secondary audio in this case. We have Nielsen audio watermarks that we're displaying live here. And you can see there's a lot of data you can overlay. So we have, primary audio levels here, secondary audio levels. We have, various, we have closed captioning, and you can overlay which type of closed captioning you want to see there. As I mentioned, we have an alarm history, so you can actually pull up that alarm history, and you can click down here at any one of these, previous alarms, pull that up, and we'll be able to show you what the cause of that alarm is. And again, we have a fairly low static threshold we have set up here, and we can see that these are what's triggering our static alarm here. Probably need to expand that a little bit, but you can also see all of the rest of our pips here are still running live, but we were able to go back and look at an alarm history here on this particular channel from about an hour ago or so, right? We can go back to live on this and continue on. So this platform is perfect for troubleshooting also. Like I said, you can go back to any point in time to look at the video, but you can also switch between the audio programs, so you can hear your primary or secondary audio. You can also drill down into individual audio channels. So if you need to hear channel 3, the dialogue channel, in your headphones, you can just click on that and we'll pipe that directly to your headphones, okay? So you can do that with any or all of these different types of channels. We make it simple to operate these things, so you just, click a button here to add or remove channels to the multi-viewer. You don't have to use a template editor or anything like that to do that, those types of operations. You can quickly and easily jump in there. But we do have a template control available to you so that you can do more complicated things here and set up various custom views here. And one of the options that we offer in custom views is is channel cycling, right? So we can drop, single channels here into our monitors here and or our pips, and they'll be fixed. But if we drop more than one channel into a pip, then basically we're going to cycle through those channels, right? So that allows us uh, to to get eyes on this. Now we're monitoring 24/7, but this allows our guys to focus on the important channels, and then maybe get eyes on these channels every once in a while, right, as they cycle through. So you just drag and drop, to set your channel ordering, but then also set the dwell time, how long we're going to spend on each channel before we cycle to the next, is part of this setup too. Okay, so other things, other types of multi-viewer platforms, as I mentioned, we also have, applications where you can set up your own custom multi-viewer views. You can connect these multi-viewers, to your instances and run these multi-viewers virtually anywhere, again, from workstations to servers to even smart devices like Apple TVs and Fire TVs. All right, so fully configurable, and again, support those other features like channel cycling and those types of things. And your typical use case in that, you can build a multi-viewer pod, where you're pulling channels from various sources, whether it's various test points within your ecosystem or different instances or stations or what have you. You can pull all those in to you and construct your various multi-viewer views, put those across multiple screens, have an operator monitoring all of those, and then, have a reserve a fourth screen here, for a for things like the penalty boxes or monitoring using a dashboard, or even going back and investigating issues or alarms that may have occurred using the browser-based multi-viewer, right? So it's a very flexible setup that you can use here. All right, and then the last workflow to pull up and look at here is what we call the editor workflow, right? We're recording this content for you, typically. So you can come in here in your uh, editor workspace here, and queue up any date and time that you want to into the editor, and then go to work, doing whatever it is that you want to do within here. So you can there are several ways for you to be able to find what it is that you're looking for. As I mentioned, we take any data that we bring in here and we make it searchable metadata, right? So we can come in here and say there's a hurricane out there in the Gulf of Mexico somewhere, I think. So let's go ahead and do a keyword search for hurricane, and we can search through those captions, and you see we have 160 mentions here. So these are all active links that we can click on, and we can pull up and put into the player here to allow you to edit that out. So that works with captions, works with DVB subtitles, works with any type of metadata that we collect. We make it searchable for you. You can also we'll also pull up snapshots for any time period that you want within the editor. And again, you can use snapshots to come through here and find whatever it is that you're looking for. If you're looking for a particular news story, the weather, a particular ad break, whatever it is, you can find it easily through the snapshots. Just click on that. We'll jump there. You can set your mark in, come over here to the end of that, click on that, set your mark out, and you can drop this, into a timeline. Now you have full controls over here, so you can do, up to 16 times fast forward if you just want to scrub through content and work it that way. You can absolutely do it. 16 times fast forward, 16 times rewind. You have, all your granular controls here for frame advance and frame reverse, and the ability to jump, 30 seconds or a minute into the future or the past, if you're looking for ads or doing things like that. Those are nice features to have. And you can put as many in and out points into the timeline as you wish, and you can construct an entire timeline. And with that construction, you can upload resources, or you can actually, upload videos or just individual images that we can use, to create your pre-rolls and your post rolls. You can do things like add your fade in, your fade out, even put a crossfade in the middle there. So you can construct an entire timeline that you can export using this editor interface. Now, we have a full transcoder built in here, so you can export this in any formats that you wish. High resolution, low resolution, you can upscale, you can downscale, you can create custom templates that are compatible with your workflows. So you see, I have a couple Adobe templates here, so we can take this as a broadcast stream with AC3 audio, so we can take it and transcode it to AAC, so it'll drop into an Adobe editor easily. So we have all of those things available to you so that you can use your current workflows. And as I mentioned, some of the options here with exporting is, where do you send it? You can, if you wish, you can publish this directly to social media from this platform. You can also share it through OneDrive, through Google Drive, through, I have Amazon S3 here, but it could be any S3 bucket that you can put it there, or you can just attach it to an email and shoot it off. All right. So those are the highlights of the Vela monitoring system. Again, monitoring your signals from soup to nuts. That's from protocol all the way down to individual audio video parameters and ad insertion parameters, SCSI markers and the like, and then giving you workflows that include dashboards, multi-viewers, and editing capabilities. And with that, I'll kick it back to John.
All right, thank you, Kevin. That was fantastic overview. We've got a little bit of time left for Q&A, and we've got some questions. So let's start with a question to Kevin Parks on our side. For distribution to sites to stand up a Zixi solution, are there hard requirements for the terrestrial connectivity? Does it need to be at least 1 gig of connectivity? And what does redundancy look like with Zixi?
Sure. So yeah, so there, and what I'll do is paste into the chat if I can. There are some system requirements, but in terms of connectivity, so Zixi works over basically any IP network, and the actual connectivity you would need would depend on the bit rate of the video that you're trying to transmit. So there's not a hard minimum of 1 gigabit per second. It really depends on whatever your video content is. If it's 10 megabits per second or 20 megabits per second, it depends upon that. And in terms of redundancy, Zixi supports a number of different redundancy models. Again, like I explained, it's kind of like Legos, so you can kind of build the video workflow the way you need to. So there's everything from our patented hitless failover that sort of constantly looks at 2 different transport streams and compares them and can move from one to the other in a hitless way. There's also we also support 2020 SMPTE 2022-7 hitless failover. But then there are a number of other kind of failover models, hot, warm, lots of different options. So really, whatever you need in terms of redundancy. And then on the system requirements, again, there's some basic kind of processor and memory and those sorts of things. And I think I can try to just cut and paste that into the chat. It might be the easiest way to do it.
And we've also got the email address, and we can follow up with that question afterwards. We've got a couple of questions about the Vela technology. How does Vela handle video storage? Kevin or Kevin?
Hey, that's a great question. I guess I'll take that one. Video storage, we will manage your storage, whether it's an on-prem system. So you can define how much content, either in terms of days or bytes, of a particular channel that you want to save on an on-prem system. And then once that limit is reached, you can determine what it is that you want to do with that content after that. So if it's an on-prem system, it can be deleted, or we can move it. We can move it from that on-prem system onto network attached storage or your network storage, right? And if you use our software and our process to do that, then we keep track of it. So if you keep 6 months, on our system, and then a year and a half worth or 2 years total on the on your network storage, then when someone goes to log in and pull up content, whether it's from 3 months ago or from a year and 3/4 ago, it's just going to queue up and load up into our player. There's nothing for them to do. It's all transparent to the end user. And likewise, in the cloud, we store to S3 buckets, and we will manage the size of those S3 buckets, to ensure that you have the number of days of storage that you wish, or hours, or whatever it may be that that whatever your storage requirements are, we manage those for you in the cloud. So there's nothing that you have to do for that.
Okay, while you're at it, Kevin,
Mhm.
does Vela support user integrations such as Active Directory?
Oh, yeah, great. Thanks for that question, John. So yes, we integrate with Active Directory. You can import your Active Directory user groups. You can use those user groups, to determine, what features that individual users have access to. You don't want people who may be going into the system to trim out live sports content, to change your compliance monitoring settings or your alarm set points or things like that. So you can control who has access to what channels, what content, and what features using Active Directory user groups. We also integrate with single sign-on services such as Okta, so you can use those services also.
All right, thank you. Back to our Kevin part. You deal with our field customers quite a bit. So we've got a question. So what is the benefit of using this integration with Zixi customers and broadcasters and station groups?
Sure. So the benefit is that with our friends from Vela having integrated Zixi directly into their product, what that means is that if you're using the Zixi protocol, for example, with station groups, there's been a move towards central casting, centralizing the distribution of content from cloud, for example. So if you're using Zixi protocol to transmit out of the cloud back to the different stations, for reliability and low cost, with this integration, it means that you can use that same Zixi protocol distribution directly into Vela. You don't need to convert it to some other protocol first, through some other process.
And then a follow-up question for you, Kevin, is Zixi Zen Master is known for its also monitoring capabilities. And how would you distinguish between the two and when to use each?
Sure. So like I said, Zen Master is really great at, monitoring your workflow end to end, monitoring everything about that workflow from sort of the, transmission layer kinds of issues or the, how you're what utilization you're running on processors, whether it's a Zixi broadcaster software running in AWS or some edge device. You can see the actual how the processor on that device is working and can alarm if it's being worked too hard. So monitoring that overall end-to-end workflow is really where ZenMaster shines. And then you can monitor the video in ZenMaster as well and monitor things like frozen frame. But the example that Kevin Grubbs gave of that, they can detect a frozen frame as well, and Kevin showed that. But then if it's that really kind of deep video analysis where Kevin showed the, going to that moment in time, and you could actually see the video and see that it was, in that case, it was a still picture of makeup, and it was intended. So knowing that that frozen frame was actually an intended thing in that video, and then you could clear the alarm because it wasn't an actual problem. So I'd say like that distinguishing. I would distinguish it by ZenMaster doing sort of the full, complete end-to-end workflow monitoring, and then the deep video analysis is really where Vela shines. Is that Kevin Grubb? Does that sound right to you?
I think that's perfect, Kevin. Thank you for that. Yeah.
And And Kevin Grubbs, we've got time for I think one last question. You mentioned multi-viewers using devices like Apple TV and Google Chromecast. Can you say how they work?
Sure. So basically, on those devices, we run an application, a Vela application that you can download from the App Store or from the Play Store, right? And those devices will connect to the Vela instance where all of the monitoring is being done, right? And from them, we'll establish that connection to the Vela instance and pull down the live video from that Vela instance so that we can display that on those the Apple TV, the Fire TV, the Chromecast. So there are a couple different protocols we use, typically HLS, and more often than not, the people who are using these in that application, that smart device application, are looking at OTT type of channels anyway. So bringing down that content in HLS allows us to display that on those devices pretty easily, and still give you a lot of metadata around that, like the audio levels, overlay the captioning, and do all of those things that you saw within the multi-viewer view.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Kevin, and everybody that joined us today. We had a good turnout. We will be making this video the recording available to everybody as a follow-up. But I want to thank you for attending today and learning more about ultra low latency delivering and compliance and Mosaic outputs. So we look forward to talking with you again very soon. Thank you.